Presenting the Honorable James Roosevelt, Chairman of the Committee on Narcotics of the California Delegation in the Congress of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, I had the privilege of previewing the picture you are about to see. It struck me as having more than surface meaning. The events in this picture occurred in the late 1920s and early 30s. In those days of the Purple Gang, crime grew largely out of illicit liquor running, but it merged quickly into racketeering, kidnapping, dope running. Today, crime stems from dope, organized racketeering, and organized gambling. It is like a disease, sickening whole cities, threatening the nation. Its outbreaks predictable, month by month, year by year. This picture graphically illustrates this sickness, but it cannot provide the cure. That is up to you and to me, to all of us. Thank you.
This is the Detroit River, peaceful boundary between two friendly countries, except for those years of national prohibition, the 1920s and early 30s. Then the river was a battleground for rum runners and hijackers. For more than a decade, illegal liquor from Canada crossed the river in a steady torrent supplying half the nation. The estimated cost was $1 billion for the dry year, a figure greater than the total amount spent on education in the state of Michigan for a 10-year period. Scores of murders went unreported, and the river hid the dead. New York had its Hell's Kitchen. Chicago had Cicero. In Detroit, we had both. It was called Hastings Street. Here in the slums, penny anti-punks began to appear in gangs. From petty theft, they graduated to hold-up and shakedown, imitating the big city mob.
I made the mama made them. Give it. Hey, let's get out of here. Mama! Police! Police!
7th Precinct. All right, I'll get him.
Yeah.
It's the Purples again. Get Lieutenant Harley on it.
Lieutenant Harley's off duty.
Okay, I'll get him.
I'll get it then. Lieutenant Harley speaking. Yeah. How many? All right, I'll be right there.
What is it, Bill?
Gladys, you're trembling. Take it easy.
Do you have to go now? Can't you wait and see about it in the morning?
Not this one.
This is as bad as when you were in the detective bureau. Aren't you still in the juvenile division?
Yeah, but this is a little bit different. It's a string of robberies with an angle that is definitely not juvenile.
It's down on Hastings Street.
Oh.
Now, you go back to bed. Read your book. Don't worry.
The Purple Gang?
He named him himself, Papa did.
No, the law named him after Jimmy Zanowski, a police kid. They couldn't say his name, so they call him Jimmy Purple.
So what's the difference who named them? They're bad, bad.
Bad, officer, bad. It's that Purple Gang, Lieutenant.
They're robbing every store up and down Hastings Street.
Sam's place, too, Lieutenant.
Almost every store in the neighborhood. They've gone wild.
Where's that grandson of yours?
Oh, Lieutenant,
Why, him?
please, he couldn't have nothing to do with this.
Where is he?
Lieutenant, why don't you go after them real bad ones? The Purples.
I know where some of them hide out, in the basement.
Call the station, George. Get a squad. Maybe someone will identify a few of them this time.
We've been through this mess before, Lieutenant. Never convicted any of them.
But this isn't just another penny anti-theft. This has another smell to it. Where is he?
Upstairs studying in his books. But you picked on him before. Wait, it ain't good. Please.
Don't be frightened, son.
What's all the noise? Can a guy have a... Hello, Lieutenant.
Honey boy, you've grown up some since I saw you last.
Officer, please don't remind him of them days.
Yeah, he's only a boy. Boys will be boys.
He's a good boy now. He's a student. He reads.
Been a lot of robberies lately with a phony protection angle. Your own grandparents got hit. I thought I might take you in. Maybe you'd name a few names.
You can't shut him up.
Oh, please
Hey,
leave him
Pops,
alone.
Pops. You got a warrant, Lieutenant?
I'm not arresting you, honey boy, until I have to. Right now, I'm asking you to cooperate.
Not till you got something on me. Bring a warrant.
Son, we only want to
Yeah,
help
okay,
you.
Pops. Downstairs.
Oh, son.
Take care of the grocery. Come on out, Hank.
Where are you going, Hank? Come on, let me go. I can sneak out the
You don't
back.
have to leave. Stay for a while. Come on. Stay.
What, are you scared or something?
I don't like to be shut up, you know. So?
So I stick around, I guess, huh?
Yeah. He's not so smart, Hank. After tonight, Hank, the chips are down. You know what we do? We pick the best men, and we hold them together. You know what makes a gang stick together no matter what?
Glue.
Yeah, wise guy. I'll tell you what. It's one guy that they can look up to. See? People are like sheep, Hank. They like to follow. Not somebody they respect. No, there's only one thing they respect, Hank. You know what that is? Fear. That's the number that makes the world go round, Hank. That's the number we play. And you know who they fear the most? The guy with the most guts. That's me, Hank. Me with you. Together we got more guts than any of them, huh?
Yeah.
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 Let go of your thing, mate. Let go of it. Let's go.
Hey, what's the matter, you guys? Come on, get back here. Come on, stay in line.
Don't make it so I have to belch you, son. Come on, boys. What's the matter? You crazy? Get back to the police station. You're under arrest.
He's just a boy. I'm from the welfare department.
Book him. Book all of them.
Yes, sir. All right, line up.
You guys want to make
Wait
it
a
tough on
minute.
yourselves? Come on. Keep it up.
Some of these young men are underage.
They're not young men, miss. They're hoodlums.
There is a law in the state that says no juvenile can be locked up with an adult criminal.
I know the law, miss. I've already got a special tank prepared just for them. Does that satisfy you?
No. The whole system is wrong. Those boys should not be locked up at all. You see, what youth needs nowadays is a little psychological adjustment.
3-syllable words, lady. How do you expect a policeman to understand them?
Now look, as a welfare worker,
We'll handle this, ma'am.
Lock them up together, Harry. I'll have charges filed and everything set by the time court opens in the morning.
I'll have to call you back. I have someone in the office. Excuse me.
I said, are we to return to barbarism in the handling of our young offenders? Take this case, for instance.
Here, Pete Williams. Sign here. Joe Milford. Sign here. Is it all there?
It better be.
Well, hurry up and sign. Boy, if you're a juvenile, I'm in my second childhood.
You look at Copper.
Yeah.
Who sprung him?
Welfare bunch got to the juvenile judge.
All right, lay off, you monkeys. Lay off.
There's a meeting in the chief's office, Lieutenant. He's expecting you.
A young man, William Joseph Willard, nicknamed Honeyboy. Now, there's a warrant issued for his arrest without any real reason, and certainly without a thought to the untold psychological damage that could be done. Now, he is sensitive and intelligent. He suffers from a slight claustrophobia, dislikes being in a closed room alone. Isn't it our duty to aid him, not to brutalize him more? You take the spectacle I witnessed last night. Big, burly policemen manhandling boys.
Just a minute, miss. These are not nice little boys being ill-treated by big, bad policemen. They're tough, you understand? They're tough, and they're dangerous, and they're getting worse.
Go easy, Lieutenant. Dr. Reardon here and Miss McNamara are...
I know who they are and what they are. I also know the gang of punks we rounded up last night. The Purple Gang. And to them, you don't spout big words out of books.
They have grown up without love, without home life, with no real feeling of security.
Look, miss, and you too, Doctor, you've got to start your work in the cradle. When kids turn criminal and start running in gangs, it's too late. And with this bunch you've just turned loose, it's way too late.
They're products of their environment.
Aren't we all products of our environment? You say they suffered shock in childhood. They come from broken homes. So do thousands of kids. Yet they manage to grow up and make decent citizens. Look, I tell you, Chief, the only solution now is to get tough.
I'll get every one of them set free as fast as you arrest them in this manner.
Look, Chief, it isn't just penny ante theft with these purples anymore. They're shaking down on a phony protection racket. Every one of them we booked had money. Each one of them could have posted bond. Do you know what that means, miss? It means they're getting money together for a slush fund. Bondsmen, lawyers. It means they're big time. It means you can't stop them with half-baked theories.
Are you finished, Lieutenant? Because when you are, I have a report to get out to the chief.
Okay, I'm finished. Look, Chief, take me off this kitty cop detail, will you? Give me anything, bunco, robbery, homicide. Yeah, homicide. That's where I'll run into your nice little friends again. At the end of the road. Only then it'll be murder. They're headed for it. Somebody's doing their thinking for them, and it isn't you. Someone was doing their thinking, all right, and I had a hunch who it was. Honeyboy Willard stepped into big-time crime at its most dangerous level, hijacking the liquor runners on the Detroit waterfront. For their first victims, they picked the biggest liquor running combine on the river, the Olsen brothers. Eddie, the eldest, was the brains of the bunch. Eddie hated violence. Official bribery was his formula for success in liquor running. Tom, the middle brother, a ladies' man, bookkeeper for the gang. Al, the youngest, he thrived on dangerous action.
Hold it. You can't fight an army. Tom, what do you reckon they are? I don't know, but they mean business. Bunch of punks.
Is this a hijack?
It could be. You want to give me a gun?
I don't carry one.
You got one?
Give me a gun, Tom.
You ain't got a chance. You couldn't sell a pint of that liquor from here to the Rocky Mountains. Now, do you know whose stuff you're hijacking, Buster?
Yeah, Buster. The Olsen brothers. You ready, right?
That's right.
Well, I'm the Purple Gang. We always start out with the big ones first.
Purple Gang, huh?
Yeah.
What's your game?
Protection. You play regular, nothing'll happen.
We're paying half the liquor agents on the riverfront already.
This is protection, not bribery.
Okay, call it off. How much?
$1,000 every load we catch you with. And we'll be watching.
I'll pay for this load now. Ever see one this big before? Thought not. Now listen. This hijacking is only going to get you one thing. Blasted. Want to talk deal? All right, we're spreading out. Liquor, gambling, the works. We can pay for your kind of talent. If you want to talk a deal, be at the Sugar House tomorrow night.
Alone?
Bring one other if you like.
You ain't got that kind of guts, Eddie.
Shut up, Al.
You want to shoot me, tough guy? Make sure you got enough guts to be there. 9 o'clock.
The Sugar House, a modest warehouse in the Detroit slums, but a very rich enterprise for the Olsen brothers.
the door, Tom. Close up, guys. Let me show you a real operation.
It may have been crude, but it was highly efficient. Liquor from Canada poured into the sugar house, then out over the United States in an enormous flood. And the Olsen brothers supplied no small part of it. But before it reached the thirsting millions, this rich flow of Canadian whiskey was cut with raw alcohol made directly from sugar. Honeyboy and Hank Smith were being introduced to the big time that day. Very big time. But this particular load of whiskey left the sugar house undiluted. Its destination, Chicago. Al Capone's private stock. It went to him sealed and uncut. Right off the boat. Honeyboy's imagination needed no more prodding. He was ready to throw in with the Olsen brothers and ride that flood of liquor towards his wildest dreams of power. The deal was this. The Olsens to supply a business organization, Honeyboy to provide a strong-arm gang young enough to have no caution and brutal enough to do anything. The period of bloodshed and violence was about to begin. But so far, none of it should have concerned me in homicide. In the regular routine of the Bureau, I investigated suicides, accidents, murders, even listened to chronic confessors. But I couldn't get the Purple Gang out of my mind. The merger of the Olsen brothers' bootlegging empire with Honeyboy's ruthless genius for organization was a black day for Detroit. I began to dread the hour I'd inherit the Purple Gang again. Gambling was big business, stakes high and the game's rough. Most of the money easy come from rum runners. Protection of the illegal gambling places was taken over by the Purple Gang. They also cut in on prostitution, and heaven help the poor girl who didn't pay her share to the collectors. And since a lot of them were still kids, they swiped candy, victimized shopkeepers, stuck up grocery stores, and rolled drunks. The carnival of crime extended to newspaper circulation wars. Fights between rival cab companies. Hijacking trucks, destroying produce to force market prices higher. Even the farmer was caught in the middle when organized gangs forced city dealers to pay for protection.
So I said, Annie Maud, you gotta go. It's either you or me, you old bag. Lieutenant! You ain't even listening.
Oh, yeah, Daisy, of course I'm listening. Just like I listened when you confessed to killing your Uncle Joe. This time it's your Aunt Maud. Time before that, it was some guy you just read about in the newspapers. You are a chronic confessor.
But I did.
Look, Daisy, the county has a new department. It's got a doctor. You know, head shrinker. Right now, it's naughty little boys he's interested in, but he'll just love you, Daisy.
You cops are all alike. Never believe a lady.
Joe? Pretty good looking, huh, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen her around here before.
I'll bet she's got a lot of dough in that purse.
Dough? Yeah. Dames like that just asking for trouble coming down here.
We have decided that with a little applied psychology with the parents, and all we... Mrs. Kowalski, we would like to... Mrs. Kowalski. What's wrong, boys? Excuse me. Now look, if it's money you want...
Get a load of this rock in her finger.
Oh, now, wait a minute. That's my engagement ring. Please don't take... Look, I can get you all the money you want.
You can, huh?
Scram. Scram!
No! 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 Please don't!
She can identify every one of you.
I inherited the Purple Gang again. This time at the homicide level. Criminal assault. Shot between the eyes. Some of the gang had grown up, all right.
All right, straighten the line, boys.
Dorsey? Which one is Dorsey? Okay, boys, we'll bottle you up until you know your own names. Take them out, all except that one.
Okay, let's go.
Don't lay a hand on them, George. They're juveniles. Let them set. This one was growing up. Come on. Book him. The charge is murder. Name is Joe Milford. Yes, sir.
Just a minute. He's a juvenile.
He's past 20. I've got his birth date. He'll be 21 by the time he comes to trial. I've got his prints on the pistol we found in the weeds. You figure out what he did and who to, then I hope you can sleep night, Starks. Joe Milford went up for life. But one conviction doesn't destroy a gang. Liquor running increased in volume and in violence. The Purple Gang became the most notorious in America. The Olsons got what they paid for, and Honeyboy Willard enforced his rules with extreme brutality as his power increased.
Tell him to come on, Hank. I got the payoff right here, cop.
Come on. What are you afraid of? He's got the money. Hey, you see him? He's right there in the alley. Right, that's it.
Get out of this stinking city. I want to breathe again. Why should I sweat because one cop got rubbed out? A crooked cop at that.
You can still live up in the country, Bill.
Chief, we've been planning this for years. Gladys is furnishing the cottage. I've already promised Sheriff Morrow I'd resign here the first of the month, take over the substation. We're planting a garden. Fruit on the trees, carrots right out of the ground, fresh air, green fields. And Gladys is going to have a baby. I'll drive the 10 miles into town just to hand you a cigar. Now let me go, huh?
Congratulations, Bill. That's great. I know how long you and Gladys have wanted it.
So, promote Murphy to inspector. Let him head up your new squad. And if I can give the police any help out there in the boondocks, just holler.
Listen to me just for a minute before you go, Bill. And that cop was crooked, all right. But you know as well as I do that he was probably the only foul ball we had on the force.
Now, by that, then why get so worked up about it?
Well, I'm worked up about what it means. That Purple Gang is walking real tall, Bill. This town's in for a fearful mess if they're not spiked. Well, you're the only man qualified to take over the lone hand assignment I'm offering you. Bill, it's the city. The people are going to suffer in the long run. I'm desperate.
You can help me.
You shouldn't be reaching above your head like that.
Oh.
Come on, down.
Oh, well.
Easy now.
Thank you. Those are old wives' tales, silly.
You got a lot done?
Oh, pretty much. Oh, I want you to help me. I want to push that dresser against the wall.
All righty.
And it has to go right under the mirror there, okay?
That's it. Now, you let me handle this, huh?
All right.
There we go.
And tell me, what did the chief say when you told him you were quitting?
I didn't quit. They've had a cop killing in town, Gladys.
Bill, after all the things we planned,
Honey.
would you tell me what is so special about a policeman getting shot? Ordinary citizens get murdered and detectives go to work. Just routine. But when it's a policeman...
I know it seems that way, but there's something bigger behind.
Yeah, that's right. The whole police department's disrupted. You and I, our lives, our plans, they don't mean anything at all, do they, Bill?
Gladys.
A cop was shot. Forget everything else.
Gladys, the load of buckshot that went into that policeman was aimed right at every citizen in America.
Even the newspapers say he was dishonest,
That's
Bill.
not the point. That's not the point at all. Now, look, when an ordinary citizen is shot, a law is broken. A serious law, and I do as much as anyone else to get the murderer. But when a cop is shot, that's an attack on the law itself. The whole structure of law, the security of people, you, me, babies yet to be born.
Oh, Bill.
Gladys, this is no ordinary killing. The man in the uniform doesn't count outside of his own little circle, but blasting that uniform is ugly, vicious contempt for all law.
How long did you promise to stay with the department?
It's a one-man assignment. Use every facility, all the men I need. Put a lasting crimp in that gang. What do you say, honey?
Well, I married a policeman. Come on, honey. Let's get the rest of this stuff in order.
You let me do this thing, huh?
All right.
I took over my new job and refreshed my memory. In the general file were some old faces and some that were new. Honeyboy Willard, I knew him well enough. Those Hastings Street days were far behind him. His pal, Hank Smith, I was always curious about him. He had a decent home, a doting mother, a father. The Olsen brothers, Eddie and Tom, older, the brains. Albert, little Al, a very tough guy. Harry Axler, Bob Fletcher, hoodlums out of New York. As I looked at these faces, I felt as though the job I'd taken on was a sentence for life. This one, a professional killer out of St. Louis and Chicago, for hire at a price. A cold, deadly murder machine. His name, Killer Burke.
So I was on my way to Chicago when I heard about the gravy train you boys got in Detroit, and I figured to get on board. So I made a little detour.
Some detour, huh, Eddie?
I thought maybe we could do a little business. You got a load of liquor going to Shy. I thought maybe you need a good chopper.
Yeah, we got a load of liquor going, and all the guards we need. It's a 3-truck convoy, and it leaves Dearborn at midnight.
Why you tell me that?
To load you if it's information you came here to get. Now, anything happens to that convoy en route, my boys will know who to look for. Now, what did you come here for, killer?
You boys got me all wrong. I'm not trying to muscle in. I'm a big-time operator just looking for work. Didn't you check me? When I phoned you yesterday, I told you to contact Big Al.
We heard you. This is a direct wire to Miami. In 1 second, Al Capone will be on the other end. And if you're not like this with Scarface, well, we got a few professionals here, too.
Hello, boss? You didn't tell me this was a zoo up here. Yeah, gorillas.
This guy level, Al?
Yeah, he's my boy. I want you should lose him up there for a while. He done me a nice job.
Okay, Al. How's everything down there? How's the weather?
Sonny.
Yeah, it's sunny here too, Al. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Well, boys, now that my references was okay.
Yeah, you're okay, Burke. You understand. We can't be too careful.
No harm done. But you boys were asleep in this town at that.
How do you mean that, Burke?
There's big business going on. The boys are here from St. Louis.
Forget it. No outside bunch will ever get started in Detroit. We use our brains here, not just blubber and guts like in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, without a crystal ball, I predict there's going to be a big-time snatch. Trig and Rats are in here. I met them in St. Louis.
Who were they after?
I didn't get no name. They offered me a job. It's out of my line. I'm just giving you boys the dope. All I know is it's a big-time gambler.
Schofield!
Yeah?
I'm the chauffeur the car agency sent over.
I don't need you until 4 a.m. when I close. And I only need one guy to drive a car. Oh. What is this? A kidnapping in broad daylight?
Sure ain't a waltz, Mr. Schofield.
Oh, you're a dead duck, my boy. I got some powerful friends.
Come on, Pop, let's go.
I mustn't get excited. I got a heart condition.
Mr. Schofield's going by, Brian.
You haven't heard the last of Mr. Schofield.
What do you mean heart condition?
Oh, my heart! It's me, Fish. Can you hear me? It's Fish Schofield.
Where you calling from, Fish?
I'm out in the country, naked. Naked!
He's naked? What's he mean, lost his shirt?
Listen, I pay you for protection and I get kidnapped. It cost me $50,000. 50 grand. And even so, they dumped me out in the sticks naked. I had to pay cash. Small bills. 3 tough guys. Come out and get me in a car.
Where are you calling from, Fish? And we'll pick you up.
Write it down. Here, hold this. I'm out at a farmhouse near the lake. Take Route 16 till you get to an electric sign, then turn left.
The resignation today of New York Mayor Jimmy Walker has ended the inquiry into the conduct of his office for New York governor.
After proving their ability in one kidnapping, the St. Louis visitors tried to muscle in on the Olsen brothers' territory. Then Honeyboy and his staff set a trap for the Egan Rats, baiting it with an invitation to join the Purple Gang.
Hey, where are they? You got it tied to a tree someplace?
I invited them up here.
Here? Why here? Hey, you want a slug?
Sure, go ahead.
No liquor.
What? What's with that?
No liquor, no junk, and no broads when I'm running the show.
Now, what's the play, honey boy? Come on.
3 mugs that snatched Schofield are on their way up here. Your brother Eddie offered him a piece of the gang.
A piece of the purples?
Yeah.
Now, if that ain't a laugh, huh?
They're from St. Louis, like Burke said. They're on their way up here to talk a deal. They want to set up a kidnapping racket. Kidnap 1 gambler a week. In St. Louis, they call them Egan's Rats. Too bad they didn't bring Egan with them. Whoever he is. Let's go. Let's catch him outside.
Right.
Get on the fire door, Al.
Right.
Where are they?
Easy, killer. They'll be on time.
Why don't we meet them outdoors?
I hired this place for a clean job, a clean getaway, and no traces. That's the way we work.
Welcome Egan's rats. Knock twice and walk in.
Sounds all right.
These boys got a sense of humor.
Yeah, they do.
The newspapers seemed to be proud of the purple. Detroit wasn't letting Chicago have all the play. But I rounded up a few of Detroit's own gang and called in a few private citizens who could identify them if they would. All over America, the ordinary citizen was too scared to fulfill this civic duty. These were dangerous times. However, one of the residents of the apartment might prove to have courage enough to speak up. I could still hope.
Line up. Inspector Harley, line up.
Mr. Harley, I've got something to tell you.
I know, Daisy. You killed those 3 men at the Milleflores.
Are you kidding? It was my cousin Luke.
Oh.
Well, he didn't get the main headlines. He's back here among the medicine ads. See? It says Luke Summers. It says heart attack. But it's me who did it. I leveled on him. Well, really? What a police department.
All right, bring him in.
Hank Smith. All right, Hank, step forward. Hank Smith, born Detroit, product of Hastings Street. Reform school conviction, parole, petty theft, store booster, mugger, no adult convictions. Known hoodlum. Could have been at the Milleflores apartments. Anyone finger him? If any one of you can identify these men, it's your civic duty to speak up. All right, Hank. Al Olson. Step forward, Al. Al Olson, youngest of the Olson brothers. Known hoodlum, liquor, gambling, rackets, protection. You ever been in the Miraflores flats, Al?
I was born there.
Thomas Allen Burke. Step up, Burke. Thomas Allen Burke, alias Killer Burke, believed to be a hired killer. Believed to have worked in St. Louis, Chicago. No police record. Arrested in Chicago, but not held. You got any friends in Chicago, Killer?
Chicago? Where's that?
Step back, Burke. William Joseph Willard. Step forward, Willard. William Joseph Willard, alias Honeyboy Willard. Juvenile conviction, theft, paroled. Sit around, let the audience see your profile.
Profile. You've come a long way from Hastings Street, haven't you, Honeyboy?
Yeah, Harley. I haven't stopped yet.
What became of your old grandparents?
They're where you should be, Copper. Dead.
Send them all out. This one I can hold.
Yeah, you try it. My lawyer's in your office now.
Your lawyer's tied up in court. Judge Stone called a case of his. I asked him to. Honeyboy, I'm going to hold you every hour I can.
You can't lock me up.
Put him in a cell.
You hear, officer? I want to be in this cell. I want to talk to Harley. You hear? Harley, give me my lawyer. You hear me? Let me out of here. Where's my lawyer? Give me... I don't want to be in here. Let me get out of here. Harley! Harley! Give me a lawyer, will you? Let me get out of here!
With no evidence, not much hope of getting any, all I could do was harass the gang at every chance and hope for a break. I took out search warrants for the Olsen brothers' offices, although I knew their spies at headquarters had tipped them off the minute the warrant was signed. Their front was solid, and their bookkeeping ingenious. All right, boys. That'll do it.
Look, rousting us like this, Inspector, won't do you any good. Here, have a cigar.
No, thank you.
Won't even touch a cigar. Tainted?
I don't smoke them.
Cops all honest.
They found out it pays.
Or they know planted money when they see it. How many of these is it going to take, Harley? And how often?
I don't smoke those things either.
Another honest cop?
A wise one, rather.
Okay, let's level. Harley, I want to buy you. Leave town, take a trip, live like a king, anywhere.
Eddie, I'm out to bust your rackets and tie up most of the purples you've been using for the rough stuff.
So we can't deal, huh?
Mm-mm.
There's more than one way to roast a weenie.
You and a million like you daren't touch a policeman you can't buy. Your friend in Chicago found that out long since.
Okay, Inspector. We keep our killings among ourselves. That makes you cops happy.
You're wrong. The more gang killings, the stronger one mob gets. It's the public that suffers.
Public?
Yeah, the public.
Look, Harley, we do a public good. Nobody wants this Volstead Act. We supply liquor, good liquor, to over half the country.
Okay, Eddie, you keep up the bluff. But I'm telling you, I'll raid every gambling joint, bust every slot machine, clean out every house, and jail your girls beginning right now.
Search warrants, too, Holly. Remember, the Constitution of the USA.
You throw the Constitution at me, I'll get those search warrants. In spite of the bail bondsmen and the crooked clerks you keep around the courthouse to tip you off. I'm out to bust you, Eddie. Wide open. Plow the pieces under.
Only an honest cop could talk like that.
What are you going to do, Eddie?
I could run the liquor business anywhere. Podunk, Iowa, if I have to. The organization is set up, salesmen are out. Tom has all the figures in his head. He invented the double bookkeeping system.
Okay, Eddie. You take the liquor. I'll keep the city. Which way you going, Al?
Hold it, Al. Blood's thicker than that milk that Honeyboy drinks.
Well, I'm going where the action is.
You're muscling in, honey boy, huh?
The trucking, the shipments to Chicago, Kansas City, even that lousy Omaha deal. Anything that comes through the tunnel or over the river is yours. Keep it. Run it from Council Bluffs, Iowa, for all I care.
Do I hire your boys to protect the trucks?
You hire nothing. Run your own business. You got half the prohibition agents on the payroll now. All you need is protection from hijackers. Get your big fat friend in Chicago to set that up for you.
Wow, aren't you feeling big?
Yeah. We're going all out for straight shakedowns. Gambling. I got an idea for a big one, Eddie. A real big one. Protection racket.
You got it, honey boy. It's all yours. Tom and I'll operate from out of town.
Stick around for a while if you want to watch some changes.
No, thank you. But you watch out, a certain police inspector don't call the changes on you. You can't buy him and you sure can't scare him. Kill him and you got the feds and every dick in your state in the neck. And one more thing. He's on one special assignment. Just for the purples.
You let me skin that cat.
Yeah, I'd like to see you try to skin that one.
I will, Eddie. With brains. You say you can't touch him? I'll tell you how you touch him. You find his weakest spot. His rawest nerve, that's what you touch. This isn't 1917 anymore, we're in the 30s, huh, Hank? We go modern. There's a word you probably haven't heard, Eddie. Psychology. I'll spell it for you. Where is this guy? What's keeping him?
He'll show up. He's the best cat burglar in the business. That's why we hired him.
What kept you?
They kept a dog. I had to soothe it.
What's the setup?
The old lady that stays there went over to her neighbor's.
And?
Yeah, the dame you want is in bed reading. I got the window open a ways, and I open both doors. They're unlocked, the front and the back.
Let's do it.
Yeah, what if her husband comes home? After all, he's a
The minute
copper.
he leaves the station, there'll be a fast car out here to tip us off. Killer, take this guy and go around the back. He'll take that job in the country after tonight.
I'm pregnant.
Leave her alone.
Harley. I've sent for the priest.
Prayers can't bring her back.
I've seen that look before. You have it in your mind to go out there and kill.
Sister, my wife has been lying in there for 3 days, seeing nothing,
Oh,
knowing
I
nobody,
know.
driven crazy by a pack of mad dogs. Baby she wanted so much. What do you expect a man to do?
You have a higher obligation. You represent the law, force for good, and what is in your mind is evil.
The evil's already been done. It's lying in there. Go take a look at it. That's all my fault. I swear by God they'll pay for this.
Why do you blame yourself?
Because it is my fault. I could have quit this job. It's my fault that she's dead. They'll pay for it.
Do not place yourself above the law. Either man's law or God's law.
But the Purple Gang gave me no peace and no time to think of personal tragedy or of revenge. Abruptly, the city exploded in a new era of violence. Terrorism, forcing the cleaners and dyers to pay the gang for protection. It was a very shrewd racket. Dry cleaners and dyers are the most vulnerable for a shakedown. Other merchants own their own stock. If it's damaged or destroyed, the loss is theirs. But cleaner's stock belongs to the public. Damage it, and he's out of business. Facing ruin or death if they didn't pay, eventual bankruptcy if they did, cleaners from all parts of the city sent their delegates to confer. Each delegate represented from 50 to 200 or 300 cleaners and dyers, wholesale and retail, from all parts of the state.
Like I say, this Purple Gang, the police, they arrest a dozen of them, soon a dozen more take their place. This has been going on for years. It will never stop. So we can't pay and pay to keep our homes and shops from being bombed and burned up. We either go out of business or we fight.
That's right.
We use our protection money to buy protection, not to be suckers for a racket.
Mr. Orlovsky is right. I say fight fire with fire.
So I have brought Mr. Licovetti here with some of his friends from New York.
Chicago. Even the words will scare them purples.
Chicago, then.
I've only got a few words to say, gents. Let the word get around. We're all mafia.
But the word mafia held no terrors for the Purples. With great cunning, one gang hunted out the other. In surprise attacks, Licovetti led the mafia. Too shrewd to be trapped, Honeyboy Willard used his favorite weapon in retaliation. The gang war raged. We arrested all we could legally hold. The big ones, of course, escaped the net. That's always the way. The Purple Gang's take from all sources exceeded $1 million. This golden magnet attracted the racketeers and the big shots. It also drew to its ranks the underworld scum of a dozen cities. Prostitutes, pandlers, hopheads. As fast as we brought them in, others took their places. Like many cities in America then and now, Detroit was a sick town. The people were apathetic. Civic duty had become a comic phrase. So had patriotism, honor, all the other words that once stirred decent men to crusade on the side of the law. The people of Detroit needed a shock treatment. Suddenly they got it through an unusual experiment in civic government, a one-man grand jury.
Please sit down. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. Sit.
Somebody said you wanted a top-secret conference, Judge.
Something ought to be secret around here.
The chief and I agree that I should try to get this one-man grand jury set up as quickly as possible.
It's certainly a weapon no one's ever thought of before.
We're meeting with the state's attorney and the governor this evening.
And a weapon we can use. You see, sir, on search warrants and warrants of arrest, we're always being beaten to the punch by tip-offs from inside sources.
I know. Spies everywhere. Money corrupts strange people. All I can say is, Inspector, if we put this over, I'll rely on your word and integrity to sign any warrant, search or arrest, and you'll be able to move in complete secrecy, making raids and arrests.
The judge cut red tape to nothing. He relied only on the integrity of the officer requesting search warrant or warrant of arrest and signed them. Before ink on the warrants was dry, raiding squads were on their way. The one-man grand jury functioned as a full jury never could in those wild days along 17 miles of this nation's frontier. Scores of dishonest prohibition agents were indicted and arrested. The Detroit River was no longer bridged with bribes. Flying squads arrested every hoodlum they could find, but we never saw the heads of either gang in any lineup. We kept at it around the clock, using every legal device we could think of to hold a suspect overnight. Unlawful assembly, no visible means of support, held for investigation, all the old hackneyed charges, even down to a parking ticket. But no break came. Even if we found the big ones, we could never pin anything on them.
Another batch came in. I put this record on top. Thought you might want to see him before the lineup.
Henry Abel Smith, Hank Smith. Where'd they pick him up?
Down on Hastings Street.
Hastings Street?
They booked him for loitering.
Get him in here. Cigarette, Hank? Sit down, Hank. This card says you were picked up on a charge of loitering, like a common tramp.
So how much of a bond is that? $10?
All right, Hank, let's try again. What took you back to Hastings Street? Looking for a place to hide? You used to have a fine old mother, Hank. She's still alive. Well, did you see her last night?
Yeah. Yeah, I seen her. You know, she threatened to turn me in. My own mother. She said I was the worst kind of snake and menace. My own mother said I deserved to burn. Her own son. You know what?
You're a nervous wreck, Hank. What's the matter? You joking?
Oh, no. No, Lieutenant. Inspector, man. Oh, look, there's not a mark on me. I'll show you. Never mind. Well, strip me down, right? Examine me. I'd never touch the stuff. Never. I mean, maybe an aspirate. Maybe I'd been better off in the junk at that, huh?
Look, Hank, I'm going to give you a big fat chance to make your mother think you're better than Horatio Alger.
I don't get it.
In this city, there are two gangs at each other's throats. I want the big shots. I'll settle for a line on one bunch or the other.
Look, Inspector, don't ask me to rat on the purples. Well, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't.
All right, then give me the other ones. The big shots in the Mafia. I'll settle for that.
Well, I mean, I'd have to find out.
Well, find out, Hank. Do one decent thing.
Well, they're shoving dope, mostly.
Okay, Hank. There's a small restaurant by the river. It's called the River Park Cafe. Do you know it?
Yeah, I know it.
Any message you want to get to me, you write on the back of your check. The cashier will know what to do with it. She's a bright girl. Her dad was once a dick. Is it a deal?
Look, Inspector, I just want someplace to
Is
hide.
it a deal, Hank?
I just want you to take the heat off.
Is it a deal?
Yeah, it's a deal. But just the Mafia.
Just a simple message on the back of your check. You can trust the girl. Go on home. rival gangs fought on. The prize, every racket in the city. But the Purple Gang more than held its own. And the Cleaners' War never let up. In that, the Mafia had tackled a job it could not finish. As many as 40 explosions in 24 hours, stink bombs by the score. To show his contempt for the Mafia, Honeyboy Willard struck back viciously at the Cleaners' president who had hired the outside mob.
That woman saw us. Follow her. We'll pick you up around the corner.
I saw a murder,
Come on, Daisy. Now you're seeing them. You used to do them.
but I did see a murder.
Sure you did, Daisy.
I saw it. Oh, officer, please. I saw them. I know their faces. Please, I must tell you.
She looks through that mug book.
Yeah, she can put the finger on all four of us.
I want to see Inspector Harley.
It's a doctor you ought to see.
I saw it. I know their faces.
Nobody has any time to bother with you, Daisy. There's too much trouble in the city.
I saw it. I think I saw.
She's not gonna look through any mug book. Follow her, Hank.
Run down by a car, shot in the head. Plainly a gang killing. But why Daisy? She never harmed anyone. What had she seen? What did she know? Why was she important enough to be dragged into this bloody jungle of crime? Then Hank Smith got courage enough to act.
What are you doing? Stop it!
It's torn, Inspector. The letter's on it. Bon Ton Flower. Could be flower shop.
How does it feel to be trapped in there, Hank? You wanted to leave me alone. I'm going to leave you alone, Hank. All alone, forever. That's what it's like when you're alone, Hank. It's like being trapped in a closet.
Look, honey boy, I swear my mother's heart. I was just trying to tip him off to them mafia guys.
No. You wanted to go over on their side, Hank.
Well, look, what are you talking about? Just give me a break. Let me explain.
I don't need you, Hank. I don't need you. I can do it all by myself. All by myself, Hank.
Oh, my God. No, please, just let me explain, honey. Shit.
Bonton Flower Shop was the mark. This squad search warrant called for dope. Heroin in a flower pot. Nothing could be delivered with a more innocent front. Dope in a flower stem. Marijuana in a tulip.
I think we got it all, Inspector.
Good. How long you been running this place? Did you ever hear of the Mafia? I said, did you ever hear of the Mafia?
Mister, please, give me protection. I'll tell you all I know. I'm just hired to run this place.
All right. If you'd like a quiet chat, we'll go where you'll be safe. Come on. The shot came from a silencer on a .22 caliber pistol. In those days, you could buy silencers by mail. A sniper for the Mafia. He'd made certain the florist would never talk.
You know, honey boy, I still think that we ought to go over to Canada for a while. And let the Mafia take over? They're feeling pretty big now. They knocked off one of their own boys in that flower shop. I mean the police. You know they're rousting everybody. We got business in Detroit, Al. Mafia business. Besides, what are lawyers for, huh? Yeah. There they are. Go down and check the load, Al. Right.
All right, Chief. I'll be in as soon as we finish going through these sales slips from the flower shops. We may have something. Anything, Murphy?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, these two gangs are overdue for a head-on collision. I'd like to fend this one off if possible. What do you got?
Every big shot hoodlum you ever heard of, sometime or another, runs a flower shop. Front for bookmaking, peddling dope, pushing counterfeit, lots of things. Here, take a look at those. I think this is our best bet to find the main guys for that Mafia bunch.
Mafias or purples? I want the big shots and only the big shots.
5 times in 3 days, flowers were delivered to an apartment at the Collingwood Manor.
Dates on these showed this place open just about the time the gang war started.
It's a toss-up which to raid first, the Collingwood or these others.
This is our best lead, Murphy. We'll case the Collingwood apartments and then hit it. Put some of your best men out there to keep an eye on the place.
Oh, here they are. Now, these boys are Harry Keyes, Irving Mills. Now, you remember them.
Yeah, sure. The old Sugar House gang. Just kids then. You got sent up over that social worker.
Yeah, they got shipped off to school.
We graduated. You got a war on your hands. Mafia.
That's why we hired you. Name scare you?
Just put us in the way of making a few bucks, honey boy.
Attaboy. We got a little job tonight. A place called the Collingwood Manor. Joint's been cased. We know the apartment. There's 3, maybe 4 the main mafia hold up there.
Maybe we could ask him to come over here. Talk business like we did before.
I don't think the mafia'd go for it, killer. We'll figure something out on the way.
Better get some of the good stuff, Rico.
I'll get it.
What do you hear from the Purples?
Honeyboy must keep him to the river mostly. They got a boat. I'd like to torpedo him and his boat. Knock off the head of the Purples and you write your own ticket in this town.
All right, let's police up this joint a bit. We got company coming.
Dames, that ain't company, that's living.
All right, let's get rid of some of these flower pots. They may start wandering.
What about that guy? Who's he?
It's just a juice head.
Don't be so sure. He slaps his feet down like a harness bull.
Drive by him once slow and then turn around and pull up in front of the Collingwood.
Excuse me, sir. Could you spare a dime for a gentleman who beats somebody? It's all... Thank you. Jeff?
Well, what do you think?
He's just a panhandler. Come on, let's get this job done. Get ready.
I got a good look at the man sitting next to the driver.
Where are you calling from?
It's the Collingwood Manor. Now, that's all I can tell you. I just got on the case an hour ago.
Good work, Mac. We'll be right over. Do everything we've got around that block.
The dames. Let him in.
Yes, sir.
put... Ah! You leave me alone. I got witnesses, you hear me?
This time we've got witnesses.
Witnesses. Get away from me now, you hear? Get away from here! Get out of here, you hear me? Leave me alone! I don't want... Get away. Please leave me alone. Get out of here. Go on. Get away from me. No, let me alone. Harley, you listen to me. You can't blame me for what happened to your wife. She was crazy. She jumped out of a window, you hear? Go out of here! Get away! Get away! Get him out of here. What do you want? What do you want from me, officer? No, I told you, didn't I? Leave me alone, do you hear me? What's your badge number, officer? You hear me? Get away from me! Go on out of here. Get away from me! Don't put me in there! I said don't put me in there! I don't want to go in here. Let me... Let me alone! Let me out! Let me
Since the end of the Purples, only the times have changed. The daily headlines remain the same. Yet any intelligent adult could pick out any youngster earmarked for emotional troubles. The signs are plain. But only the civic awareness of the American public can bring an end to rat pack terrorism.